What's happening, YouTube? It's Simon466cards, and today I'm going to take a couple of ideas from my previous videos and combine them into a broader theory and prediction about certain aspects of the hobby and what will happen in the future. It's like in the 80s and 90s when your favorite TV show would basically take an episode off and turn it into a clips or a flashback show where they would take pieces of previous shows together and create a new episode based off of that, and you'd always be disappointed because nothing new was coming out. Well, this is sort of like that, but hopefully I'll combine it in a way that is actually entertaining for you guys and perhaps insightful, and you'll take something out of it. So let's jump into it. The first video I want to talk about is the one about Beckett, where I predict that Beckett is going to be sold to Fanatics over the next few years. When that happens, who knows, right? And this will be part of a larger liquidation sale of Beckett because of its owner and the owner of the conglomerate that actually owns Beckett. That guy's name is Greg Lindbergh. Again, I'll link to this video in the description below. He's got some problems, let's just say. He's got some criminal stuff he's dealing with. He's got convicted of bribery. He's been indicted on some other schemes to take some company funds. And that's just on the criminal side. On the company's financials side, he's also dealing with some other stuff. He's getting sued for over nearly $600 million. People are saying he's taking money and dissipating assets. What a phrase that is, dissipating assets. I feel like that should be a band name or something. Anyways. And then, they're liquidating some of his other insurance companies. Like, it's a disaster, right? And so my video talks about all of this leading to Lindbergh having to sell Beckett and liquidate a bunch of his companies to pay back all these companies that he owes money to. And, again, this isn't going to happen overnight. This guy, from what all I can see, loves to drag his feet, but eventually he will need to liquidate. And if there's ever a guy who loves buying things when they're a distressed asset, it's Michael Rubin and Fanatics. He did it with Topps, and I feel like if Beckett comes up for sale at a discounted liquidation price, he's all in. So that was the first video, and that's the piece I'm going to take in this prediction that I'm making. The second video that I made a while back now, it's my most viewed video actually. It was talking about what will happen to all these slabs in the next 10 years when a bunch of them lose their value and they all basically become worthless because they're base cards of players that didn't succeed or didn't have any type of career. A lot of lower end cards, lower end products, that kind of stuff, right? There's a lot of cards that have been slabbed in the last 4 years that are going to be worth zero. And so as part of this video, I asked, what can we do to prevent these from just ending up in the landfill? How can we use them in different ways? And one of the theories I had was, well, Fanatics, they have sports books, and the reason why Michael Rubin had to sell his stake in the Philadelphia 76ers is because he's opening he wants to get Fanatics into sports books, and they're going to operate actual physical locations of sports books. And the idea here was Fanatics would buy a bunch of these junk slabs and use them as coasters for these sports books as a way to turn a sports book customer or patron and get them interested in cards by having a card as the coaster for their drink. And obviously they'd buy a bunch of these on the cheap. They'd all be these worthless slabs. You could buy them for like a quarter each or something. But that was the idea, is to use the junk slabs as coasters at a Fanatics sportsbook so that Fanatics can use that as a marketing tool to get more people who are already interested in sports into sports cards. So that was the one of the theories. You could say idea number 3 I had on the slide for how to use some of these junk slabs. So we're going to combine those two ideas together, and this is going to be my grand prediction or idea for what will happen in the future in the hobby. And so let's break it down. First is Greg Lindbergh. He has to sell Beckett because of all the issues I talked about, both criminal and financial. Michael Rubin, Fanatics, they love a deal, so they're going to buy Beckett because they love a deal and they really love buying distressed assets. And then after he buys Beckett, he's going to have a bunch of ways to market Beckett and get Beckett basically out of the hole it's been. And one of the ways that they're going to try to work on the brand and also introduce cards to the hobby is they're going to buy a bunch of BGS slabs specifically and put those in Fanatic sportsbooks, and they're going to serve as drink holders both to market the hobby to people at the sportsbooks, right? Again, it's a lot easier to market sports cards to people who like sports, and if they're at a sports book, they're going to like sports. And on top of that, they'll use those coasters to reestablish the Beckett name brand among people who are entering or re-entering the hobby, right? So it's a double win. Not only are you marketing sports cards to sports people, but you're also marketing the Beckett brand of slabs to people coming back to the hobby. If they're interested in the slab, they'll be interested in the slab because it has a player on it, but it also now by being part of it, they'll also be interested and maybe perhaps recognize the name Beckett from when they were in the hobby in the 90s and 2000s. So that's the theory. It's combining both Fanatics buying Beckett and also what to do with junk slabs into a broader theory about Fanatics will use junk Beckett slabs at sportsbooks to market the hobby and market the Beckett brand name and bring it back up to the name recognition that it used to have among people. So let me know what your thoughts are on my theory here. I think all of these things individually make sense and are good ideas. And so whether or not they'll actually happen, time will tell. But I think there is validity to each of the individual pieces. And so why not combine them all into a broader theory? Would love to hear your thoughts and comments down below. Thank you as always for listening and watching. I'll talk to you all soon. Cheers.